Welcome back to another Deep Dive Explainer. Today we're unpacking a release that's basically sending shockwaves through the tech community. More importantly, it holds some incredible, undeniable business value for your daily operations. We're talking about an AI model that brings literally unprecedented scale to the open source world. I mean, just look at the sheer scale of this thing. 2.8 trillion parameters. It's an absolute behemoth. And on benchmarks that actually test real-world job tasks, it didn't just compete with Anthropic's Claude Opus 4.8, it beat it. But wait, before you start ripping out your current tech stack and routing all your company's data through this new powerhouse, there is a massive data privacy catch buried deep in their terms of service that you absolutely need to hear first.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1. The massive open source launch.
So on July 16th, 2026, the Chinese AI lab Moonshot AI kind of changed the whole landscape by dropping Kimi K3. They claim this is now the largest open source AI model in the world, full stop. But, how do you run a model this massive without it just completely grinding to a halt? Well, the secret is in the architecture, specifically a mixture of experts, or MOE. You see, an MOE architecture doesn't use all 2.8 trillion parameters at once. That'd be crazy. Instead, for any given prompt you feed Kimi K3, it only activates 16 out of its 896 available experts. It's a brilliant structural design. It's exactly how a model of this staggering size stays fast, efficient, and actually usable for your daily tasks instead of just timing out. Let's look a little closer at what's actually under the hood here. Moonshot didn't just take an older model and pump it up. They built two entirely new architectural pieces for this release. They're using what they call Kimi Delta Attention, which is a hybrid linear attention mechanism, and attention residuals that deliver really consistent gains as the model scales. Now, let's translate that from engineer speak into business speak. Basically, this structurally new AI is purpose-built for what they call long-horizon agentic workflows, meaning it's uniquely tuned for reading massive code bases, scanning through incredibly dense spreadsheets, and executing multi-step web browsing without losing its train of thought. Right, moving on to Section 2, winning the numbers game. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we're talking about. Look at this data for the GDPval-AA v2 benchmark. This isn't just a test of abstract trivia. It specifically measures real-world tasks across 44 different occupations and 9 major industries. You can see Kimi K3 scores a 1687. Now, yeah, it's trailing Claude Fable 5 Max at 1,815 and GPT 5.6 Sol Max, but look closely at who it's beating. It comfortably outscores Claude Opus 4.8, which is sitting at 1,600. So on this single benchmark built to measure if an AI can actually do real jobs, this new open source model just outscored Anthropic's flagship. And guys, this isn't just one lucky test score. Kimi K3 is showing absolute automation dominance, ranking first in 4 out of 8 specific automation benchmarks. Pay real close attention to those bottom 2 points there. SpreadsheetBench 2, which tests real spreadsheet manipulation, and BrowseComp, testing autonomous web browsing and information gathering. Kimi isn't just winning academic tests. It is specifically dominating the exact, repetitive busy work, like data entry, reporting, and research that businesses actually want to automate. Now, let's shift focus to the financial advantage, because this is where heads really start to turn. For every 1 million tokens, Kimi K3's API costs $3 for input and $15 for output. Compare that directly to Claude Opus 4.8, which charges $5 for input and $25 for output. Not only is it significantly cheaper, but Kimi also offers a full 1 million token context window with a massive discount, literally just 30 cents on cash hit inputs. So the crucial point here is that 40% figure. You're looking at a 40% cost savings on both input and output tokens for a model that actively performs better on real-world business tasks. When you scale that across an entire enterprise, that is a transformative number.
Which brings us to Section 3, real impact for your business.
Let's step away from the abstract benchmarks for a second. Think about your daily operations. These exact real-world tasks are where that 40% savings compounds every single day. We're talking about high-volume data entry, formatting those incredibly tedious weekly reports, researching competitors, and cross-referencing records. If you're running AI agents to process hundreds of spreadsheet updates or web lookups daily, this 40% gap isn't just some fun fact. It's going to drastically reduce your overhead costs and show up directly on your balance sheet. Furthermore, tech-savvy businesses get a really unique advantage here. Moonshot has confirmed the full downloadable model weights release on July 27, 2026. Because it's open weight, if you have the technical capacity to self-host, you gain total control over your entire data pipeline. You get to decide exactly where the model runs and what happens to the data going in and out. That's something no closed API can ever truly offer you.
But here is Section 4, the crucial privacy catch.
Now, what's really interesting about this is, well, before you start migrating all your workflows, we need to look at a critical warning that all those flashy headlines completely missed. Listen to this direct quote from Moonshot's privacy policy. You are granting them a non-exclusive, unrestricted, perpetual free license to use and relicense your content to third parties. Let that sink in. If you are running sensitive client data, financial records, or anything under an NDA through this model, they are essentially vacuuming it up to do as they please. That phrasing is absolutely not a minor footnote.
Let's break down the hidden risks outlined here. As of July 2026, there is no documented in-product opt-out for training data on their free app, unlike competitors like ChatGPT or Claude. The policy also completely fails to disclose where your data is actually stored. And finally, independent safety evaluations of Moonshot's earlier models highlight clear refusal behavior on politically sensitive topics tied to the Chinese government. Now, purely from a business operations perspective, regardless of where you stand politically, it's vital to know that if your use case touches these topics, you will likely encounter friction or outright refusals.
Let's move on and see how this builds into an actionable strategy, because there is a safe way to do this. The free web app is, frankly, unsafe for NDAs. It clearly uses your data for training. However, Kimi's own documentation states that data submitted specifically through their paid API is not used to train or improve their models and operates without persistent storage. So the business-safe path, really the only path you should take for sensitive operations, is the paid API. All right, wrapping things up with Section 5, final verdict and next steps. The core message of this explainer is clear. Kimi K3 is an incredibly powerful, cost-saving tool that outperforms established giants on business busy work. But it absolutely must be implemented with extremely strict operational boundaries. So how do you safely test it today? Well, don't take my word for it. Follow these steps. First, access Kimi K3 securely via the Moonshot API or through OpenRouter. Second, pick a specific repetitive spreadsheet or research task that you currently pay humans or a per-token subscription to do. And third, run it through Kimi and directly compare the results and the final cost against your current AI model.
I want to leave you with a final, provocative thought. Knowing everything we just unpacked, would you run your business's repetitive tasks through this open weight model to save 40% on your token costs? Or does that aggressive data policy rule it out entirely for your organization? Let me know in the comments down below. I literally read every single one. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep optimizing, and make sure to subscribe so you never miss our next deep dive into the insights that matter most to your business.